CitadelOutlets.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Rams, heavy favorites as a Super Bowl contender this season, open training camp Saturday at Loyola Marymount. The addition of defensive end Myles Garrett, a two-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year, and Pro Bowl cornerback Trent McDuffie has given the Rams an elite defense to go with their highly productive offense. The Rams are expected to be better than the team that finished one game away from last year's Super Bowl. On paper, the Rams are legit. The Chargers open training camp on Wednesday in El Segundo. In a salute to their original fan base in San Diego, the Chargers have scheduled training camp practices August 4th and 5th on the University of San Diego campus. USD is where Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh started his head coaching career in 2004. The Dodgers are back in action tonight. They start a 3-game series in New York against the Mets. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let me put my hard hat on, go back outside, and see if these procrastination Crenshaw construction crews have shown up yet. I'm saving space for grace, but if these trucks don't show up soon, well, you already know.
Destination Crenshaw, your time is up. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580 and Bethesda Temple Church invite residents, churches, businesses, and community leaders along the Crenshaw corridor to join a vitally important community conversation Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. For years now, this community has been living with unkept promises and the devastating effects of the unfinished Destination Crenshaw construction project, leaving residents, businesses, and churches to deal with myriad problems, including the loss of parking, restricted access, traffic congestion, and a lack of emergency vehicle access when it matters most. For years now, Procrastination Crenshaw has directly contributed to the loss of customer revenue for local black-owned businesses and, sadly, has forced the closure of some businesses along this 1.3-mile corridor. For years now, churches have been experiencing decreased attendance due to the elimination of parking, and social service programs for vulnerable fellow citizens have been altogether halted. For years now, residents have watched their quality of life erode, and nothing has been done about it. If they think they can get away with treating black folk like second-class citizens, they better think again.
You better think about what you're trying to do to me.
This town hall meeting is a reckoning, a public witness, an opportunity for impacted community members to share their experiences for the public record as we prepare to hold those responsible accountable for this enduring nightmare. So please join us Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. This town hall meeting is free and open to the public, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
Whoa, oh, mercy, mercy me. All things ain't what they used to be now. Where did all the blue skies go? Poison is the wind that blows from the north and south and east. Whoa, mercy, mercy me. All things ain't what they used to be now. Oil wasted on the oceans and upon our seas, fish full of mercury. Oh, mercy, mercy me. All things ain't what they used to be now. Radiation underground and in the sky. Animals and birds who live nearby are dying. Oh, mercy, mercy me.
KBLA Talk 1580.
So happy to have with me this morning another brilliant mind. It's Brilliant Mind Day today. She's a criminal defense attorney, a community activist, an advocate for criminal justice reform. She is also now a TikTok influencer. Is that right? Can I call you a TikTok influencer? Attorney Tiffiny Townend Blacknell is joining me. Good morning.
Good morning. So good to be with you.
I think I call you that because I'm influenced by your TikTok videos. I love your analysis, and I just love the fact that you are so frank. You know, a lot of people that work in high-profile positions, as you have, and in the DA's office and the public defender's office, they're really careful. They talk in talking points. You make it plain.
Well, I appreciate that. I try to.
Yeah. So this really sad story about the death of Nolan Wells has captivated the country in a way that I think is good because of the conversations that are coming out of it. When he first came up missing, no one was talking about it except black people. And once Attorney Crump came on to the case, it sort of blew up on the national conversation. Now even Nancy Grace is talking about it, which I find very strange. But it's like it kind of makes my mind bend. But talk about Nolan Wells as you understand it, because now there's so many videos and there's many different timelines and people who were supposedly there and real videos and fake videos that it's becoming confusing.
Yeah, and I think that's by design, honestly. All the misinformation and I think that there are people in my comments too are just like muddying the waters, and that's unfortunate. I do think that, and this does fall, along racial lines, unfortunately. But Nolan Wells was an 18-year-old young man who went out on a boat with his white friends, and they left in the morning, and then at some point, I believe 4:30, the boys, the white gentlemen, they left the island. Now, the island apparently was occupied by hundreds of party-goers, people who are in the community. And according to the boys, the white boys that left, they left at 4:30, and then Nolan wanted to stay back. That's their official account, is that he wanted to stay back. And unfortunately, no one has released any information about what happened after they left. There are people speculating that he went with them and something nefarious happened on the boat. There are people speculating that, he got drunk and passed out in the water, but no one really knows. And what I think has caused black folk, at least, to be very concerned. Not only it's Mississippi and it's our history, but also because of the way that he was seemingly isolated on that island. And why would any friends leave their friend behind, not knowing how he would get home? Another interesting detail is that his cell phone was on the boat. And a lot of folks in my comments are saying, who would leave their cell phone, right? Young people are glued to their cell phones. Also, for me, it's unclear how he planned, if they're saying it's true that he wanted to stay behind, how did he plan to get home? Presumably barefoot with swim trunks on, no phone, no car keys. The car keys were also with the boys. It just seems to be an unlikely decision for him to make. And his mother, lovely, graceful couple that have been doing the press around this issue, has said that she does not believe her son would have done that. So for all those reasons, and the fact that, and I'm a lawyer, and I recommend my clients assert their right to remain silent if under investigation. However, I do understand why folks are suspicious of the fact that the boys, once Nolan's body was found 2 days later, they asked for lawyers, and they haven't been speaking to the law enforcement. So all those details, I think, has caused a collective suspicion. And you say nationwide interest. This has been international interest. I've been posting about it yeah, I mean, people have been commenting in my comment sections where they're from. It's like the UK and Switzerland. And, I mean, it's literally global that folk are really, really concerned about what happened to this young man.
Well, okay, several things that you said that are already causing confusion for me, and I feel like I've been trying to follow this thing. I know that there's multiple different stories right now. There's so many alarm bells for me, but the issue of whether or not they're talking or not talking, because my understanding was that the 3 boys that were with him, the white kids that were with him on the boat, are the ones that deleted their social media, initially didn't want to talk to the police, but that now they are talking to the police, and that they are cooperating. But I feel like I'm getting mixed stories on that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I heard from one source that they made their social media private, and then I heard from another source that they deleted all social media. But, the thing about it is that if you want to be treated like a friend of Nolan who lost their friend, some people are saying they were friends and they lost their friend and it's so sad, you should act like a friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If my friend was missing, first of all, I would never leave my friend alone on an island with an unknown way to get back home.
And no phone.
Number one. Number two, and no phone and no keys and no. Number two, if I did, I would make sure I knew he was back before midnight when they left at 4:30 from the island. Number two, whatever happened at the house, because let me go back. The parents had pinged his phone, and the location was at one of the boys' house, the phone. So they sent a friend over to pick up the phone. The friend goes to pick up the phone. Then they realize his car's there. Where's his car keys? The dad goes to the house where the boys are, where Nolan left with the boat, and some of Nolan's friends, black friends, were there. There must have been a tense confrontation because Nolan's dad is saying, I had to make sure to calm these boys down, meaning the black boys who came to the house looking for Nolan. And so whatever demeanor, whatever energy was passed in that confrontation must have caused Nolan's other friends to be upset. And even Nolan's father says he was upset. He had to calm himself down because they were already riled up. There was some back and forth about where are the keys to his car, where are the keys to his car. Finally, they came out after some long conversation and brought Nolan's car keys out. So my thing about these young men is that if you want to be treated like a person who lost their good friend, act like it. You go out, you search with him. You have a boat. You go and join the search party, right? You post how much you cared about him, right? You try to piece it together. You make statements. If my friend is lost, right, but their demeanor after he was reported missing is just suspicious to many people, to me included.
Yeah, I find it very suspicious. I mean, and what I had read was that the father finally, that they told him the keys weren't there, and it was one of the white girls that was there that said they're on top of the Xbox. And then they went and got the keys. And so I mean, to me, that's sort of a maybe irrelevant, but possibly not at all irrelevant detail that the girls, these white girls, are cooperating more than the so-called friends. It was and there's one of the big contradictions. The girl that he was supposedly talking to and said he wanted to stay behind, supposedly said he wanted to stay behind, she says that he said he was leaving with his friends and going back.
Yeah.
That's a huge disparity.
It is a huge disparity. But if I'm playing devil's advocate, right, I would say, what friends was he referring to? Did Nolan have other friends on the island that he could have went back with? You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I'm just struck by the fact that there's so many people out there at the island, and it seemingly no one saw anything. Right? It boggles my mind that there are not people who are saying, oh, I saw him and this is what I think happened.
Right.
But it seems it's a wall of silence. Right? And then you have the DA, right, who comes out and hasn't released the autopsy, which is also raising eyebrows. she says to the family, I'm going to impanel a grand jury. Now, usually a grand jury is secret, but she made that announcement to them, I believe, under political pressure. That's why I have been very vocal about folks keeping Nolan Wells' conversation out, because people tend to forget. They have a short attention span. But this DA, I believe, announced that or told the parents that so they could announce it in order to take the political pressure off of her office. But we know what happened with the grand jury and Mike Brown. You impanel a grand jury, but you don't really put all of it out there. You kind of are like mailing it in. It's a softball grand jury. You're going to put some nonsense in front of them that we'll never be able to see or hear because it's private. We'll never know what evidence they presented. And then you say, oops, sorry, the grand jury said no indictment. And it's still shrouded in secrecy. And that is the public's issue with this entire investigation, is that the secrecy is causing increasing suspicion. And people want to know, it's Mississippi after all. Black folks have every reason in the world to not trust nothing going on in Mississippi, right?
Yeah.
Our history is replete with systems failing us, especially those of local, state, southern governments. So still more questions than answers.
Yeah, and we'll address more of those questions and discrepancies. I think those discrepancies cause more and more questions. Attorney Tiffiny Townend Blacknell is my guest, and you're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Where the overlooked become unmissable, this is KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
This summer, the Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich and Pineapple Dragon Fruit and Sprite are back at Chick-fil-A.
Girl, it's back. We've been waiting. I love that honey pepper pimento sandwich.
And that pineapple dragon fruit and Sprite is everything. It's got that razzle-dazzle that makes you stop and say, okay, wait a minute.
I love the creaminess of the pimento cheese. It's savory, it's bold, it's flavorful.
Our faves are back. High five, girl.
Which fan favorite will you choose? Real customers paid for their testimonials.
I love days like these at the pool, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. I'm ready to make a splash with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza. Skyrizi is a prescription-only injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. At 4 months, most people saw 90% clearer skin when measured from head to toe, and many were even 100% plaque-free. People also saw significant improvement in psoriasis symptoms of pain, redness, itching, and burning.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Now there's nothing on my skin thanks to Skyrizi, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
All right, thank you indeed. And you're waking up with the wisdom of Tiffiny Townend Blacknell. She's an attorney, former public defender, former district attorney, I should say prosecutor under DA George Gascon. We're talking about Nolan Wells. And this case, as I said, gripping the nation. You said gripping the globe, which is interesting. I find there's an urgency that's added to it also because of this steady stream of really terrible killings, jailings of black young boys in particular, Cyrus Carmack Belton, of course, the kid who was chased by a shopkeeper and his wife and adult son and shot in the back. The Madison, Wednesday, the shooting of a young, 30-something-year-old black person in broad daylight. It's feeling very 2020-ish, one thing after another. Carmelo Anthony being jailed for what seems to clearly, I'm not a lawyer, but seems like it should be a clear self-defense case. And so I think people are on edge with all of this. Baby Cohen, the 1-year-old that was shot by police also in Mississippi. And you mentioned, you talked about the grand jury and how it could be strategic. Okay, now we could look like we're doing something. We don't have to tell you anything. We can keep it in secret. We can slow walk this as long as we like. And so that, even though it feels like progress, could actually be just part of a broader sort of strategy of anti-transparency, of sort of, I don't want to say cover up because that sounds accusatory, but not letting people know what the heck is going on.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think they are, I won't say covering up either, but they're definitely not acting with transparency. This family has done an amazing job in terms of keeping the public attention and eye on this, but the officials in Mississippi have not. Well, let me go back, actually. When Nolan was found, they quickly announced that it appeared to be no foul play. It was a drowning.
Yeah, that
is what sparked this entire controversy. Is the parents, which reasonably so, are like, how do you know it was no foul play? How do you know how he passed away? You just found him. And so that triggered them to say, wait a minute. Because they don't seem to be, camera chasers. These people don't seem to be people looking for attention. They in the most genuine way, and I have an 18-year-old son, in the most genuine way, just want to know how their boy spent his last moments. That's all. And so once they got the inkling from the officials that they were going to quickly decide it's just a drowning, accidental, and their boy, the answer would never be given, then they jumped into action. And they did so by, like you said, hiring Ben Crump, doing the media. They had been fantastic at keeping their son's name in everyone's mouth. And so I applaud them for that, especially having such grace under such tremendous loss. But, do I think that they'll get answers? I don't know. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like it's stalling. It feels like it's kind of like it's like tempering off with the release of the autopsy, the independent autopsy yesterday. I just don't know that they'll ever get the answers they seek, which is tragic and heartbreaking.
Okay, so a couple things about this autopsy. First of all, there's, again, as you said in your video on YouTube, there is, on TikTok, that raises a lot of other questions. And everyone was talking about why were portions of of his throat missing, why, and you explained, why maybe some of the body of his body is in Mississippi and some of it could be in DC where they had the independent autopsy paid for by Colin Kaepernick, taking it all the way out of the state of Mississippi.
Yeah, when Ben Crump did the press conference with the independent autopsy results, of course it came back as inconclusive. They don't undetermined cause of death, undetermined manner of death. And part of the reason they said that was because, several reasons. The toxicology report has not yet come in. Of course, toxicology tells you if you have drugs or alcohol in your system. Now, I will say this up front. The family, vehemently denies that Nolan would ever consume any narcotics. He's an athlete, a college athlete, and he had a clinic coming up, so there's no way, they say, he would ever ingest any, knowingly ingest any narcotics. But the tox hasn't come back yet, the results. Also, they kept a piece of the neck or the throat, the hyoid area. Now, when you are, when someone is strangled, for example, you would expect that to be crushed, the hyoid bone to be crushed, but you can't determine that if it's missing. And I'm saying missing, but it was kept by the Mississippi officials, right? And they haven't given a reason why it was not sent with the rest of Nolan's body to D.C. for the autopsy. I have heard no explanation as to why things were kept, but they were.
Do we know
right?
if that's
and
normal?
Also,
I mean, is that something? Wouldn't they normally say, "Hey, we didn't send you his throat"? I mean, it seems like it would be, I don't know, coroner to coroner, kind of, a courtesy, or doctor to doctor.
I don't know, because I don't have a ton of experience with second autopsies, right?
Okay.
Because most folks have one,
right,
and then that's that. But we have a controversial death, then people have the second one. But I don't know. But I also don't understand a reason why the body will be sent, parts be kept. That to me doesn't make any sense at all. And it also kind of just feeds into the controversy and the speculation. They're hiding something.
Yeah.
There also was redness at the base of his neck, on his head, which is unexplained at this point. How that redness or bruising happened. His skull was not fractured, according to the autopsy report, but there was some kind of mention of some redness or bruising at the bottom of the neck, in the back of the head. So, again, everything that comes out just kind of feeds suspicion. It doesn't eliminate it.
Right. And then, I want to note, I keep saying this, but Colin Kaepernick, his organization, Know Your Rights Camp, they pay for second autopsies for any family that requests it that's had either a police death or a mysterious death of a black person. So this is just something that's getting publicity now. He does this all the time. But what is the possible justification for the Mississippi autopsy taking so long? And what do you make of the suspicion that's now being cast on that coroner and her apparent string of autopsies on black people that are not finding any foul play?
Yeah, the thing about coroners are that they're not political, right? But they work hand in hand with law enforcement and with prosecutors. They're part of the team.
Right.
That's my experience, is that generally speaking, they are witnesses for the prosecution. And so I would be suspicious. Listen, black folks have a lot of reasons to be suspicious. Especially, remember that case, was it Kendrick Johnson, more than 10 years ago?
The
where
mat inside
that
mat, gym mat, right?
Yeah, and then they did the second autopsy. They exhumed him, and his body was stuffed with tissue or something, or paper.
Yeah.
They had taken all the organs out. Someone did, right? So you have all of these in the recent memory of black folks in this country. We're like, are you an independent autopsy coroner, or are you working for the police, in law enforcement, and the DA? Besides, we haven't mentioned the fact that one of the boys' stepmother's a judge, a local judge there.
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah, we'll definitely get to that. And the other thing about this lady, yes, okay, she's a coroner, she's not political, but she is a lady. She's a white lady from Mississippi who, as you say, works as part of a team. I also think about my Teresa Richardson, when the coroner here in L.A., said, and it was rare, that why did the sheriffs move the body? And, usually that was so unusual that they would even question the cops, that it made me think about this. And like you say, how they work so closely together. We've got news, traffic, and sports right here. Then we'll continue the conversation. I do want to talk about the judge. I do want to talk about the latest statements from the so-called friends. And I do want to talk about next steps. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The House has passed a package combining a federal voter ID requirement with a ban on stock trading by members of Congress.
On this vote, the yeas are 232, the nays are 198. The bill is passed without objection. A motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
The vote exposed sharp partisan divisions, with supporters calling it a boost for transparency and election security. Chicago's Haitian community is anxiously awaiting the temporary protected status deadline. Advocates say many Haitian immigrants fear losing legal protections, while legislation now before the Senate would extend TPS benefits through 2029. And Charlie Woods, son of Tiger Woods, narrowly missed advancing at the U.S. Open Amateur after a phone camera reportedly clicked during his backswing in a playoff. The distraction contributed to a bogey that ended his tournament run in Pennsylvania. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Keep the excitement going at Citadel Outlets. Experience the world's largest soccer ball, a 20-foot spectacle, plus free weekend entertainment and family fun. Now through July 31st. Don't miss it. Plan your visit at citadeloutlets.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Rams, heavy favorites as a Super Bowl contender this season, open training camp Saturday at Loyola Marymount. The addition of defensive end Myles Garrett, a two-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year, and Pro Bowl cornerback Trent McDuffie has given the Rams an elite defense to go with their highly productive offense. The Rams are expected to be better than the team that finished one game away from last year's Super Bowl. On paper, the Rams are legit. The Chargers open training camp on Wednesday in El Segundo. In a salute to their original fan base in San Diego, the Chargers have scheduled training camp practices August 4th and 5th on the University of San Diego campus. USD is where Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh started his head coaching career in 2004. The Dodgers are back in action tonight. They start a 3-game series in New York against the Mets. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This isn't a talk show.
It's a town hall with no walls.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. You have something to say, and we want to hear it. KBLA Talk 1580 is engagement radio, not outrage radio. A place where your hopes, your frustrations, and your ideas are welcome. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Real talk, real people, real Los Angeles. KBLA Talk 1580, the station that sounds like the city looks. Tune in on your AM radio dial at 1580. Download our free KBLA 1580 app or listen live on our website at KBLA1580.com.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Tired of being locked out of job opportunities and shut down by systemic racism? KBLA Talk 1580 stands with you in fighting for the rights of black workers, and we don't black down. The Los Angeles Black Workers Center is a dynamic alliance of workers, organized labor, community-based organizations, clergy, students, and scholars working collectively to improve the position of the black working class. The LA Black Workers Center takes a comprehensive approach to addressing the black jobs crisis. Their programs promote access to quality jobs, racial equity in hiring and retention, discrimination-free job sites, and they prepare black workers for employment in high-wage career track jobs. The LA Black Workers Center supports workers who need help protecting their rights on the job. They give workers access to quality jobs and remove systemic barriers to employment. And they are advocating for a fair deal for black workers in the new Los Angeles City Charter. To sign up for free career readiness training, get involved in organizing, or learn about union apprenticeship programs and trade registries, please visit lablackworkercenter.org. That's lablackworkercenter.org. Together, we can beat the black jobs crisis and build a more equitable Los Angeles. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You've got to try the new TikTok diet.
Just ask Chat.
I just take blue-green algae.
You just have to eat kale. Kale, kale, kale.
I read you should put butter in your coffee.
Or you could trust your gut. When it comes to your energy, digestion, and overall health, how do you know what's actually right for you? That's where Viome comes in. Viome is a simple, at-home gut health test that looks at your body's real-time biology using RNA to show what's going on inside you right now. Not trends, not guesses, your biology. With your results, Viome gives you clear, personalized, actionable guidance. Which foods help you, which ones don't, and which supplements your body actually can benefit from. All based on the world's largest gut health databases and thousands of clinical research studies. Many people who use Viome report better digestion, more energy, and an improved mood within months. So stop guessing, start knowing.
And maybe still eat the kale?
Maybe. Learn more at viome.com/know. V as in Victor, IOME.com/KNOW. And use coupon code VIOME50 to save $50 off your purchase.
And eat everything blue.
No thank you.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
You belong here, and you are here with Tiffiny, Townend, Blacknell. Let's tell them how to find your videos and your commentaries, Attorney Blacknell.
Thank you. On TikTok, my handle is Tiffiny, spelled Tiffiny, Townend, Blacknell, Law on TikTok. I post there primarily. I have a couple on Instagram, but mostly on TikTok.
Okay. And I did see a video that you did about another young man whose case was eerily similar to Nolan Wells, but that I had not heard of. I reposted your
Right.
post. The young guy's name was Daniel Irving. Irving?
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yes, Irving. Yeah, he's also an 18-year-old young black man who went to the lake with two white young men, and he was reported missing. The two white men, one was 17, I think one was early 20s. They never reported him missing. His family, again, like Nolan Wells, they just realized he wasn't home and reported him missing. Days later, his body was found in the lake. And what's even more suspicious about this is that the young man not only didn't report him missing, but later on admitted he had drowned in the lake. But they had, as an accident. That's what they said. But then their behavior afterwards, they discarded his phone, they took his clothes, they hid evidence, right? And they didn't report their friend deceased, even saying that they saw him drown, but did not, in my understanding, did not render aid, did not seek help, did not report it, just left his body in the lake. So those two, that's happened in April. It wasn't until July that the two were charged, but not with homicide, with destroying evidence or hiding evidence of a crime, which to me, they're out on bail, $10,000 bail. It doesn't give us any answers about how that man lost his life. That young man and that family is also seeking justice for their son and answers. And Ben Crump, after my video, Ben Crump also represents that family. But, it's unfortunate that you have these eerily similar situations months apart in different southern states. And the officials are still saying manner of death is drowning, right? I don't know if there's been a second autopsy on this young man or if he's been exhumed, but it's just heartbreaking that so many families, your boy, you get them to 18, seniors in high school, graduating, starting college, and suddenly tragedy strikes in the most bizarre and mysterious ways. And so I just really hope both these families get justice.
Yeah, and as you've been really careful to say, we don't know, but there's so many discrepancies. Let's talk about the back to Nolan Wells here for a moment. The mom of one of the white young people that was out on the boat with him is a judge, and she actually did a couple of posts where she is defending the fact that they deleted or made private their social media. She says she advised them to do it because they were getting hate comments, and she kind of made the case what you're saying, that hey, we're grieving friends, let's all get back to grieving and supporting the family and take the attention off of our kids. I had one person on this show, and I'm not sure if this is true or not, saying that appears to be, actually it was Ed Sanders who was saying that could be a violation of like judicial conduct.
Yeah, I was shocked, actually, that she inserted herself in this controversy so prominently. All of my judge friends, they would never. They're very, very measured and careful what to say to the public, especially when it can be seen as trying to influence public opinion or influence an investigation, right? You're a judicial officer. You're charged to remain impartial throughout the entirety of your career, and to not appear to take sides, political or otherwise. And for her to insert herself and also admitting that she's a judge, to me, I think is highly unusual and inappropriate. Now, she's also a mom, right? But you don't hear the other moms making posts, right? You don't hear the other parents talking about their sons. It's like, why would she take it upon herself with her prominence in the community to make these kind of comments? And it's just ill-advised in every possible way.
I mean, it seems like you're trying to influence the jury pool.
Yeah. Or the investigation itself. Even more nefarious.
Yes.
because they're still pending investigation. It's still things happening, investigation and interviews and autopsies, and you're sitting here basically announcing your son's innocence. And that to me is just, I mean, it's, I don't know who advised her, but I would totally not advise her to do that.
Why? Okay, speaking of not advising people to do things, why are these young people who were on the boat, I've seen two of them, making statements to the press about what happened? I have so many problems with this from the perspective of the press, the way they're handling it. If you're going to give them the platform, then to me, you got to ask the tough questions. You just can't let them say their side of the story and not, and mostly what I've seen is the press just letting them talk. But also, like you as their attorney, wouldn't you tell them don't do that?
Absolutely. But I suspect that they have an agreement with the press that they're allowed to speak but not allowed to ask questions. I think that's probably what's happening.
Oh, I see.
It's a total PR move. Listen, the PR has been blundered in this case, from the investigators to the judge to the kids. It's been blundered. But I think they felt like their silence was kind of deafening, and so they decided to do some limited press where I get to speak, you don't get to answer me hard questions, and they probably have their lawyers with them, next to them the entire time. But it doesn't help their public persona, because now it looks like I'll talk who and when I want to talk. If you are being advised by your lawyer to remain silent, and I would do that if they were my clients, you do not make any statements. The idea that I can talk to someone on the Today Show and tell the police I'm not having any comments is absurd. And it makes you look more guilty. Because if you have something to say, tell the authorities so your friend can get justice. But to go out there on these self-serving missions, to me, it just sheds more speculation about their involvement. And I'm surprised the press let them do it. You know what I mean? Like, why would you let someone have a one-sided conversation with themselves and not press, like you said, ask the hard questions?
I mean, even it's like the anchor Sylvia Chase said, you find a nice way to ask the hard question. You don't have to be mean about it. You don't have to be, accusatory. But, some of these interviews, they make my hair stand on end, because they're saying things, and it's not just that they're not asking hard questions. Then other press is reporting it as if it is fact, not saying, okay, people did a better job, but a lot of these, they're reporting it as Nolan Wells was asked to stay behind on the island, or Nolan Wells drowned, or whatever. And what they're doing is they're repeating what the friend said and not saying this is the opinion of someone who really should be a person of interest. Yeah.
No one's doing that. Everyone seems to collectively want this case just to go away. Wants the collective consciousness to agree that it was an accidental drowning and this we can all go home.
By everyone, you mean the white people. That's what you mean. That's the everyone here.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. But that's why I love these platforms, social media, because they're just run by the people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the people are speaking out. They don't need the gatekeepers to tell them what to be concerned about. They're sharing their own experiences. They're sharing their own concerns, their own theories. And that's why it's been moving so much on social media. Not because the traditional media has been helpful. They have not. It has been the social media that's been the engine. TikTok's been the engine behind pressing these officials to answer questions, which I love, and it's young people powered primarily. But I do think that the mainstream press has been parroting what the judge said in her statement, right? She says, Nolan made the decision, that's her language, to stay behind. That to me made my skin crawl, because it's as if you're blaming him, saying
and she wasn't there, and she wasn't there. Like, you're a judge, you weren't there. That wouldn't even be admissible in court, right?
Right, absolutely not. It's hearsay, and she got the times wrong. She said they left at 3:00 in her original statement, but the records from the boat said they left at 4:30. They were still near the island at 4:30. So you're speaking loud and wrong, and you're speaking with authority because you're a judge. I mean, it's just highly, unadvisable for a judge to do things like this. And most judges know that. I'm not sure why no one's reported her or no one's, called her on it, but she's definitely, I think, crossing some lines.
Judge Corner, Even the sheriffs and stuff, it's giving Mississippi, small town, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
Did you see the interview with the guy from the Cajun Navy on TMZ who says he's got pictures and all this stuff, and if the family would just ask him for them, he would turn them over?
Sir, why don't you just turn the pictures over to the attorney who's been asking for people to bring evidence, to bring videos, to bring pictures, to bring information? That to me is silly. Number one, why are you taking pictures of this boy's corpse, number one? Number two, this has been weeks. It's been 3 weeks.
And
You're
they've
just
been
now
asking.
saying you have
They've
pictures?
been asking. And to me, it was so gross that he would go on TMZ and say, well, they just have to ask me. Oh, but did TMZ ask you? Like, what that was classy, you know?
Right. And he's done press before and never mentioned pictures. It's not his first, press tour. And it's like, now you're talking about pictures and they haven't asked you? They've asked the world.
Right. They've asked
asked the entire world.
Anyone with pictures or video to please send it to the attorney. Anyone. What do you make of this arrangement that they made? Well, before I get off the friends here, the other thing I want to point out is that they're self-describing them as his best friend. We have no evidence. We don't know that guy is his best friend. And this guy, Warren Hudson, went on with Brandon Tatum, Officer Tatum, who is a far right-wing conservative online commentator, whose followers once swarmed me. So I have a really good sense of who they are. So they are playing the race card.
Yeah, they are.
The white people are
and
playing the race card.
And the decision to go on a show like that, to me, is just like, you keep stepping in it. You keep making the same mistakes because you're doing what's safe to you. You know where the safety lies. You know these conservative talk shows are not going to press you hard. You know they're going to support you. And it's just like, it's gross, right? If this is your best friend who's a black man, whose death is mysterious, you wouldn't go on a right-wing talking space and have that conversation. You would go on Tavis Smiley. You would go on KBLA. Right? But you're not. You're choosing a side. You're choosing to relate yourself to these right wing personalities, and it's like you're proving our point.
Yeah, that's how it looks to me. Tiffiny Townend Blacknell is an attorney. She's been on the defense and the prosecution side, and she's helping us to unbox and understand what is happening around Nolan Wells, who died or was killed after going out on a boat with his friends, his white friends, on a 4th of July trip on a boat. More straight ahead, only right here.
More of First Things First with Dominic DePrima when we come forward.
Listen up, KBLA delegation. We have something you need to hear. Right now, you may qualify for low-cost home internet. And we're not talking about a catch. This is real. Many internet service providers offer low-cost internet plans if anyone in your household is enrolled in CalFresh, Medi-Cal, SSI, or is income eligible. There are a lot of families in our community who deserve to be connected. Here's all you do. Call 844-461-7893. That's the Get Connected call center. Real people ready to help you enroll today. Or go online to internetforallnow.org to find a provider near you. You may also qualify for a low-cost computer through Human IT. Connectivity is not a luxury. In 2026, it's a necessity. And you deserve access just like everybody else. Call 844-461-7893. That's 844-461-7893. KBLA's got you. If you missed any of this, you can always go to our website at kbla1580.com. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 in partnership with the California Emerging Technology Fund, CETF. Did you know the Crenshaw Corridor now offers free public Wi-Fi? Thanks to Destination Crenshaw and the City of Los Angeles, staying connected is easier than ever. Whether you're checking email, applying for jobs, doing homework, or supporting your local business, free internet access is now available along the corridor because everyone deserves the opportunity to connect, learn, and grow. To find Wi-Fi locations and learn more, visit www.getconnected.lacity.gov.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. At the heart of the Al Wooten Center's mission for good citizenship and academic excellence is a desire to ensure that every student avoids the kind of lifestyle and overcomes the kinds of challenges that led to the murder of Al Wooten Jr. In 1990, founder Myrtle Fay Rumpf opened the center in honor of her son's life. In 2026, they are serving more than 300 students in grades 3 through 12 annually online and on site at their youth center and other sites in the South LA area. The Al Wooten Jr. Youth Center takes a neighborhood approach to the revitalization and empowerment of a community in crisis. The Wooten Center provides free after-school and summer programs to help students in grades 3 through 12 attain grade-level proficiency and promotion, high school graduation, and college and career access and success. The Al Wooten Center focuses on academics, STEM, the arts, and so much more. Join them for an enriching experience that sparks creativity and nurtures young minds. Tap in at wootencenter.org. That's wootencenter.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The conversation continues right now with Dominic DePrima on First Things First.
Wow, I hadn't seen this. Tiffiny, Townend, Blacknell attorney, is with me talking about Nolan Wells. I hadn't seen this, that yesterday the DA, Angel Myers McElrath of Jackson, Mississippi, said that she will be withholding that autopsy until it's presented to a grand jury, which is exactly what you said. You said the grand jury can be used to cloak evidence and other information in secrecy. So they're not going to let us see their autopsy, and they're withholding the throat or parts of the throat, and the independent autopsy, which was done by the head of the Black Physicians Association there, said that they couldn't rule out foul play. What do you make of all that?
It's just more of the same, right? It's more, the system in Mississippi, or the officials in Mississippi, has failed this family from the moment he was reported missing, and they continue to do so. You could at least share it with the family under seal. You can say, I'll show you this, but you cannot speak about it, right? But you're saying this mother does not deserve to know how her child died. And that, to me, is cruel. And it's done so in such a public way. You could file things and make them under seal. You could make them not, reportable to the press, but instead they're announcing their intentions not to share it, right? And then does that mean they're going to share it after the grand jury, or does that mean they're never going to, share it with the public? It just everything they do, it grows suspicion. Honestly,
I mean, I see they see the war that's going on online. They see the pain that the family is in. You would think they would want to clear things up. To me, this sounds. I mean, I'm not an attorney, obviously. You are, but to me, it sounds like a cover up. That's what it sounds like to me.
I know, and that's the thing. It's like the initial instinct for them to say it was an accidental drowning, upon finding him, to me, set the tone for the entire rest of the investigation. It's this denial. It's this, I don't want to investigate. I don't want to share it with the public. That, to me, is just a strong indicator that they're not going to be fair or impartial, that they're going to they have a result that they want, that they decided on day one, and everything they've done since then has just supported their own, conclusion. And now they wonder why the family doesn't trust them. I mean, it's pretty clear, because also the DA only met with the family after Ben Crump got involved, after the mainstream media got involved.
Right, he was on Good Morning America. Then what are you going to do? You got to meet with them at that point.
Exactly, and they didn't assign a victim's advocate to them. Wow. Right? These people lost their family. They're under Mississippi law. They are supposed to give them a victim advocate within 48 hours. But they did not do that until a week later when Ben Crump got involved. They're not treating these people like they're victims, like they've lost their beloved son. And that is what is on Front Street. It's like out in center, how they're disregarding this loss, this tremendous loss.
What I was going to ask you about, and the time flies when you're on the radio, but the fact that the the family released the phone to law enforcement only under the agreement that they would look at it at the same time, that Ben Crump would be there while the DAs or the police were looking at it. I should say police. What do you make of that?
I wouldn't have done it. Because, I mean, it's not hard to just download an entire phone. You have an expert, they download it, you have a copy, and then you give the phone away. You're not deleting it by downloading the information. You share it, right, after you're done with it. But I don't know if having some Ben Crump hover over their heads is going to be enough to make sure they're getting everything, included deleted files, included GPS location, including, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope they have an independent forensic cell phone person to actually do it and make sure it's done appropriately. But I wouldn't trust just having a witness there.
Yeah, one of the other things one of the so-called friend was running around yesterday saying was, well, we all left our phones on the boat, our phones on the boats when we went in the water. And again, the guy from the press didn't say, well, but then when he said he wasn't going back with you, wouldn't he take his car keys and his phone then? Even if he was, splashing around in the water, wouldn't he come back and get his stuff? No one asked that. They just let the guy say, oh, we all leave our phones there. All the phones were in a pile.
Yeah, and that's my point in terms of it being irrational, is that what if he did that, what was his plan? I'm going to be barefoot with trunks on and no phone and presumably no wallet and no car keys. What does he do when he gets back to the dock? Walk home? It just seems like it's not a decision that a rational person would make. And by all accounts, this young man is a rational person by his parents' account. And you know your kids. You know which kid is subject to do some crazy stuff or to be reckless, which kids are more conservative and more introverted and more careful. You know who's risk averse and who's not. This family was unequivocal. This is not something that Nolan would do. And so I tend to believe them and their understanding of their son, not some accounts of some boys who, have been suspicious.
Yeah.
Acting suspicious.
Well, I do think Crump has been brilliant in humanizing Nolan in all the videos with his black friends and his family and the football team. And it was beautiful to see the football team show up, white and black, to his homegoing. So there's been some lovely solidarity from some white folks in the community. I want to point that out as well. Tiffiny Townend Blacknell, thank you so much for joining me this morning. We can find her at Tiffiny Townend Blacknell on TikTok. That's where most of these videos live. And I suggest you keep up with them. Not just this case, but many others that she speaks about.
Thank you so much, Dominique. I really appreciate it. And I'm so good to talk to you again.
Great to talk with you as well. Miles tells me the breaking news is that LeBron James has signed with the Philadelphia 76ers. Go put that in your pipe and tweet it. The best of Tavis Smiley is up next. He's got a great show, highlights from the week that was, and there was a lot going on this week, so you don't want to miss that. Tap in with me at social media. I'm at DiPrima Radio, DIPRIMA, and then radio. You can find me everywhere. Let's keep the conversation going. We are at KBLA 1580 everywhere, including TikTok. Please follow, like, subscribe. Like my papa, the late, great Amiri Baraka, used to say, a person is either free or they are not free. There can be no apprenticeship for freedom. Until next time, my beloved KBLA delegation, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The House has passed a package combining a federal voter ID requirement with a ban on stock trading by members of Congress.
On this vote, the yeas are 232, the nays are 198. The bill is passed without objection. A motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
The vote exposed sharp partisan divisions, with supporters calling it a boost for transparency and election security. Chicago's Haitian community is anxiously awaiting the temporary protected status deadline. Advocates say many Haitian immigrants fear losing legal protections, while legislation now before the Senate